Welcome back to the Stay Magic podcast, y'all. And I want to do a quick episode for you talking specifically about what it means to grow and what it means to get better. Now, one of the things that can happen when you start a witchery journey or a spirituality journey is this idea of ascension and growth and like fixing all your problems. And I want you to know that it doesn't have to be that way. There's another way to think about this where you don't have to fix things about you. You're not broken. And the journey looks more cyclical and less this like growth, linear, must get better path. So let's chat about that in today's episode. Welcome to the Stay Magic podcast. I'm Sarah Waka, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, where I help women come home to themselves and remember that they were born magic and their only job was ever to stay that way. Let's consciously create lives that feel like magic and come home to our passion, power, and presence. Let's freaking go. Welcome back, y'all. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and I have been doing this work at the Sisters Enchanted since 2016, helping women to cultivate their spiritual practices, come home to themselves, find more confidence, and really just live life in whatever way they want to. And one of the things that I have heard and seen and witnessed in my 10 years of doing this work is that women start doing shadow work, working with tarot, casting spells, creating rituals, and suddenly there's this thing that happens where they're trying to fix parts of themselves. They dive into their birth chart and they're like, let me peel back the layers of what's wrong with me so that, I'm less of a golem and I'm more of a like desirable creature or whatever. And they feel like there's something that there must be an answer somewhere that explains why they're so broken in the way that they are. Now, I don't like to think of this as like broken and fixing. Here's the thing about growth in the world that we live in, and this is what happens for women when they start a spiritual journey. In the world that we live in, we look at growth as this like linear thing that keeps going up and up and up and up. But when we look at nature, when we look at the abundant natural world around us, it is cyclical. So yes, sure, things can grow and change, and they do change. Trees grow over time. They drop limbs, they grow new leaves, flowers. Some years they bloom bigger, brighter, taller, and some years they're less so. The grass changes over time. The landscape changes over time. A seawall, it changes over time. Rocks change over time. And what this really is more about is the ongoing cycle of change, less than let me fix what's broken and grow in this linear upward direction 100% of the time. That's not what spirituality is about or should be about. That's not what witchery is about. And it's not what the real self-help stuff that's embedded within a spiritual practice or this growth journey. That's not what it's about. It's about coming home to this cyclical rhythm of change, of bursting forth, of blooming, and then of shedding, composting, and doing it over and over and over again. So when you realize, for example, like, wow, I have a real shadow trigger around X, Y, and Z, whatever that thing might be, what we're then looking at is, what do I shift in this next cycle? What do I shed away in this next cycle? And when I shed that away and shift it, what's left to compost, to regenerate into the next cycle, right? And it's less about healing, fixing. I hear this word healing all the time, like healing the witch wound, healing my traumas, healing my problems. And the thing is all scars, all parts of your personality, all manifestations of you, they live within you. A scar, you can always see it. Sometimes you can see it more, sometimes you can see it less. It is always there. And just like with a tree, if a tree has like a dog, one of those dog runs or like a laundry line around it, and then you remove it and you can see the line in the tree, it's still there, but the tree kept growing around it. The tree kept growing anyway, right? And over time, it might get less visible, but it's still sort of always there. And that's what's happening with our spiritual practices, truly, when we're not so worried about fixing ourselves and figuring out why we are the way we are. And we just drop into this presence and this sense of holding everything loosely, being aware of our energy, really being aware of how our energy moves in different circumstances, when certain people talk to us, when we're in different environments. that is more of a spiraling outward effect. It's more cyclical, it's more circular in nature, and it's this beautiful growth spiral, and less of this up and up journey of perfectionism and fixing and healing that is an impossible hill to push a rock up, but that's what we are always trying to do. And people come to witchery and spirituality on this healing awakening journey, and I would offer for you and invite you to kind of even leave the healing at the doorstep, right? I think what it is really is it's the awakening, it's the awareness, it's the intention, it's the presence, and then the holding the parts of yourself that need to be held with love and tender care, and treating them as part of the sacred vessel and sacred energy and sacred story that created who you are to this moment in time. And then finding other people that are on a similar journey, finding people who are doing something similar, where they're not getting dragged down into low energies of like what they perceive to be shadow work, but is really just trauma dumping, energy dumping on people, right? Or looking for validation seeking. What they're doing also is they're seeing, oh gosh, this thing came up, this armor around me, it came back to the surface today. I'm ready to shed it away and let something else emerge. And when it comes back again, I see it for what it is. I'm ready to drop it again, drop that shell, and let a new version of me emerge again and again and again. And that's cyclical, spiraling outward, expansive growth, as opposed to truly just trying to push yourself up this mountain of fixing and problem solving and getting better and better and better. And that's not to say we don't want to develop skills. Like, I want to get better at sewing. I want to get better at writing. These are things I want to work on, but I want to work on them because they make me feel good to work on them. They are a creative pursuit that makes my sacral chakra expand and feel like it's being filled with delight and glitter and possibility and passion, right? They make me feel good to expand in those areas. Constantly figuring out what's wrong with me and why I'm broken and what needs fixing, that does not feel good, and that is not witchery. That is just some kind of low level nonsense that nobody needs in their life and certainly does not have time for. So when you are putting one foot in front of the other on your spirituality journey, your spiritual path, your deep dive into self growth and nurturing and witchery, or whatever this metaphysical, beautiful, esoteric journey is to you, keep in mind this idea of growing in a spiral way, growing the circle of you, not the linear, let me find what's wrong with me and fix things way, because that's not the vibe. And I don't want that for you. And it is helpful when you have people in your corner doing the same thing, though. So find those people and be vulnerable and share, be authentic, be yourself. You'll feel good about it, and you won't feel like you have to fix yourself constantly over and over and over again. All right, y'all, if you like this, be sure to check out the description to see what we've got going on here at the Sisters Enchanted, how we can support you. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. And until next time, stay magic, Enchanted Sister.